Hi, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me today with a special agenda so we can have this discussion that a lot of times we just aren't recognizing that it's important. I can tell you, as a parent of children that are on the spectrum and are special needs, we sit with a daily concern that something will happen to us. And in that concern, you feel powerless. You're not certain what to do. You feel like most people aren't prepared to be of assistance in any way if something were to happen and it resulted in your demise, whether it be your health, an untimely accident, anything that resulted in, even if not your death, you're being unable to care for those who need you the most daily. And I'll be honest with you and say that as a parent who deals with that, I I don't know how many other people are on my team, tend to be a helicopter parent, not just with worrying that your children will do things that cause problems in their life and maybe something that they'll be struggling with for a while or they'll put themselves in danger. We also worry about others not being able to be helpful or them personally being overwhelmed rather than preparing them. With our kids, we accidentally limit them because sometimes we are, in some ways, perfectionists in the manner in which we handle things. So rather than letting them allowing them to make the mistakes that they need to make in order to adapt things in a way that'll work for them so that they can thrive and have more independence, we limit them by taking over everything. And sometimes we do it with the people that are willing to be of help. But if you've ever tried to help someone who every time you attempted to help them, they took that assignment from you, um, at some point you train people not to help you. They're fearful of the outcome. They're fearful you won't be satisfied. They're fearful that this will cause a gap in your relationship or and we create those gaps unintentionally. And then we worry that our children will do things to agitate others. Excuse me. We, in fact, help them not to be helpful to themselves. And then we limit other people by not guiding them. There's nothing wrong with teaching someone to drive a stick shift. And sometimes everybody learns differently. They learn differently and learn at different pace. But the problem comes when you never allow them the opportunity to learn, or every time they try to guide the car, you grab the steering wheel. That is not a way to teach someone. But it's such a precious cargo that we are afraid that it will go poorly or that the individuals that we are trying to assist, we're afraid that they'll do irreparable damage. And that's not to say that in some cases it's well founded. If you find that that person has some issues that are unresolved, maybe they have unhealthy habits that they have not addressed, maybe they are someone who has limited patience, those will be the cases sometimes. But it's invaluable to train them. And not just for the sense that you sit them down and you try to go over everything with them, but soft guiding. I had someone who taught me to drive years ago who participated in the experience of teaching me to drive outside of just my parents. And they were very patient. They would tell me when I was getting too close to the curb, which I thought was amazing that they were patient enough because I had been told by the most patient of my parents, who I love so much, my dad. I love my mom too, but it was a lot hard for her. It was a little hard for him. But the way he taught me was when he got overwhelmed with something, with my driving, he thought we was in danger. He would just tell me the lesson was over for the day and get out the car. He'd tell me to stop the car because he felt like I wasn't listening well. And then he would invite me to go to the passenger side for the day. He was like, the lesson is over. But the person that helped me was not my parent. She was not far from their age, but she helped me. She rode with me on field service. She told me that I was getting close to the curb. At no point did she tell me to stop driving. She helped me by softly guiding me. And sometimes we're going to need to do that with those that we want to be a part of our children's life, not just for the purpose of possibly something happening to us and them needing to step in to assist our kids, but so that our children have a broader life, so that they have someone more than us. It's important that they have friends. But sometimes we don't see it until it's far down the road. And it's not necessarily that you've done damage. It's that we didn't give them as many opportunities, and they deserve as many friends and people and connections as we have. They try to pantomime what we have because they do want connections, even if it feels like that because they're on the spectrum that they appear to not want them. Sometimes they give up because it doesn't go well, and they don't know what to do, and they have lots of experiences that don't go smoothly. So sometimes they give up. But it's important that we help them to not. And we help others to have an experience with them by explaining what needs to be done. For my daughter and I, and my son, we have more conversations of what we do want and what could work better. So we have conversations about when things don't go well and what would be more effective. Like, rather than giving people instructions, because sometimes they have problems, particularly my daughter, she loves to reach out to people, which is a surprise to me. But she likes to call people and she'll get their phone number. And it was going left for a while because what was happening was she was calling people too frequently and at the wrong times. And we were telling her what we didn't want her to do, but we weren't giving her the clarification of what would be most effective and what would work best for her and for others. So what I started to do was explain to her what times to call because I was telling her what not to call, what times not to call, but it wasn't clear to her what time would be best. Like we explained, don't call anyone after 8 o'clock or before 10. But that's a lot of gray area for her because she's not thinking, don't call at 9, don't call at 10. So I started telling her, these are the times you can call. You can call at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12 a.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., right? You can call at 12 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But you have to text first to let them know that you want to call them and see if they can accept a phone call. That solved all the problems we have been having. It never occurred to me to do that before. We were having so much back and forth. And what was happening was people were blocking her because she was just desperate to say hi. She just wanted somebody to say hi to her. And I was like, Rayla, how about because we had a big thing that happened, and I won't go into more detail because she might not feel happy about me saying it. And it wasn't something she did wrong. She wasn't doing it correctly. She didn't have that intention. She was trying to be friends with someone who gave her information, and she didn't understand why, if they gave me their number, why can I contact them? Well, because you're contacting them too frequently. She didn't understand because they need firm, not just boundaries, but understanding of what it is you expect, what is allowed, when can this happen, when it can't happen. So I started to explain to her that most people are at work these hours. So let's text them at this time and see if they can talk to you. And you can even ask them, can you call me at this time? Or can I call you? When she started doing that, everything opened up. People that I didn't expect would have time for her made time. Family members as far as New York. I was so impressed and pleased that they took the time to say hi to their cousin because that means so much to her. To have people acknowledge her, to make her feel important and not less than, because sometimes when you have delays, people assume that there's no level of normalcy and it will be an interruption in her life. Well, sometimes as parents, it's not them that thinks that, it's us who thinks that. And because we put that upon them from our perspective and our mind, we inflict that upon our kids or whoever we're caring for. And we prevent them from forming bonds with people and allowing people to let them understand what their boundaries are and what amount of contact they'll have with them and allow them to make time for them. Doing that has made all the difference. It has allowed her to form friendships with people. I learned to stop ending the conversation for her because she told me I was taking over her conversation. And she was right. Because I tend to do that even if it's not her. I do that with a lot of people. And I try not to because I have to stop. The train will run away. But I had to learn to give her the opportunity to do that. And the same thing with my son. Because also it's embarrassing to them to have someone keep doing that. Because if someone was to do that to us, we would become offended and upset that someone thought so, it seemed that they thought so little of us intellectually that they decided that we weren't capable of basic conversation and communicating with someone else. There will be times, even in our conversations, that there will be moments when it's a miscommunication, that something was not understood. You were misread. And it's important that we give them those opportunities, allow people to form boundaries with them so that they can understand what those boundaries mean and what they are. And they can form friendships. It will help them to have the kind of life that they want their life to look like, not just what we think it should look like. Sometimes we think that they can't not understand the things that are going on around them when it's us that is interrupting the lessons that they need to learn. Everything won't be dangerous. Just because everything's not safe doesn't mean everything will be dangerous. And as parents, we need to give them the opportunity to figure some of it out. Sometimes they may never be able to get on the highway, but they may be able to drive through the neighborhood. And if you understand what I mean, you get it. Some of the bigger situations may not happen, but we can sometimes allow them the small things that give them opportunities to have their own personal autonomy and freedom. We don't want to make their life feel like they should be unhappy all the time because every little bit of anything that will allow them to have some normalcy, we restrict because we don't take the time to try to show them what it can be. Sometimes as parents, we're afraid to the degree that we prevent them from enjoying life as it can be. You never know what great looks like or where it will come from. Sometimes we have to allow them that chance so they can see and participate in life. Thank you all for joining me in the room with a special agenda. Take the time to be gentle with each other and patient. Allow other people to show you their patience. Show them their patience. Let the world be broad for them. If it's safe and there's an opportunity for love and friendship, give them the opportunities we have. Consider them. Take the time to see them and see others. We don't want to continue to prevent them from enjoying life as much as they can. It'll give them peace. And it'll give us peace too. Thank you so much for joining me in the room with a special agenda. Be kind to each other. Good night.